In the world of Auto Express head-to-heads, this has to be the most bizarre. Taxi versus taxi. In the orange corner is this, the 10th generation of the famous Nissan Cedric, a car that's been around since around 1973. And in the yellow corner, it's the new 2013 New York Taxi. So in the world of taxis, is old better than new? We're here to find out. Well, it's snug in here, and something you won't get in a modern taxi. There's rather lovely doilies all over the seat, something I haven't seen for quite a while, and velour seating is definitely something from out of the 70s. Space-wise, it's not too bad. Getting in and out isn't too difficult. You never get a wheelchair in here, obviously, but headroom's good, knee room's good, more doilies on the front. But most importantly, what's the bloke that's going to be sitting up there thinking? Who's he going to be having in the back of his cab? There's all sorts of modern knobs and switches, like the controls to the mirrors, but there's this wonderful thing which, should I touch it? Door, what the heck? Oh, it's a little hydraulic thing that opens the back door. What more would it be? The quality of the plastics actually isn't too bad, but the design of it is, well, my first car was a Datsun 128 F11 Coupe from 1977, and this reminds me a little bit about that, but with an airbag perhaps, and thankfully in this weather, air conditioning. But you've got the steering column mounted shifter, which, let me just put it in park, because hang on, I'm driving a Nissan Cedric, so when you're driving a Nissan Cedric you have to do what they do in Japan. So it's, no, I'm not going to be pulling the lottery balls out, but this is what cab drivers in Japan wear. The white gloves, and of course the hat. No, I don't think so either with the hat. So anyway, let's see what it's like. Into drive, out onto the course we go. This has got a 4-cylinder 2-litre engine, which is, I think it's best to say, well proven. And let's see how it goes. Well, it's automatic and it's easy, so oops, that's of course, being Japanese, you've got the wipers on the left hand side and the indicators on the right, so excuse me if I put the wipers on when I'm going around corners. Ride quality isn't too bad actually, but then it's leaning a little bit when I'm putting my foot down, but we don't seem to be going anywhere. And another right, and it's a bit of an arm twirler, I think it's fair to say. You're going to be slightly smaller than I am. Reminds me a little bit in some respects of driving a Land Rover Defender, because when I was driving one of those I was banging my elbows against the side of the door all the time. So this is a car that takes a little bit of getting used to. Definitely a step back in time. So, welcome to 2013 and the new New York cab, and it's rather spacious and luxurious. If you've ever been in a New York cab, one of the biggest questions is, where's all the space go? This one is truly cavernous. We've got white clean seats, which for most late night revelers in New York, that's going to be quite handy to keep it clean. You've got a screen for adverts, somewhere to pay, air conditioning, but the best bit of all, this fabulous panoramic roof. What do you want to do in New York? You want to look up and see the skyline, and you'll be able to do exactly that in this car. But what's it like for the New York cabbie up there? So this is the office space of a New York taxi driver, and for some reason they think that New York taxi drivers like music wherever they go. So every now and again, I apologise for this, but we'll be accompanied by jingles that don't really say New York taxi cab to me. But immediately though, this car feels more car-like, which is a bit odd because it's based on an NV200 van. There we go, look, more music. Be quiet please in the back. So, NV200 van being turned very cleverly, I think, into a New York taxi. Now, the dashboard is far more what you're used to from a Nissan. There's even satellite navigation. And the biggest difference is the steering. Unlike the Nissan Cedric, you steer, it goes. Ride quality as well. I've been to New York, the potholed streets there are almost as bad as they are in London, and the ride quality isn't too bad. Now, we're about to get onto a little bit of a straight, so let's just give it a bit of welly in. I mean, it's never gonna beat the supercars away from the lights, that's for sure, but as a driving experience, It's not too bad. And it's certainly better than those big old Crown Victorias that the New York cab drivers have to suffer at the moment. Coming up to a very important part here, this is actually replicating the New York streets with its potholes, and let's just feel it. Frankly, if it makes the people in the back sick, the good news is it's white clean. Just hose it down. So what taxi? Sounds like a great magazine, doesn't it? But which one would I choose? Well, frankly, it's got to be the 2013 New York taxi cab, although I have to say, if I'm in Tokyo, I really want to have a go in one of these, doilies on the seats and all. But there's something more important about this car, and that is, I've said already, it's based on the Nissan NV200 van. We're going to be seeing a lot of that van in the UK because, as well as the New York taxi cab, Nissan is going to be basing a British London taxi on the NV200. Won't look like this, can't tell you what it'll look like yet, but you'll be seeing lots of it very soon, and lots of it, I guess, the Nissan taxi cab for London in the future.